welcome to one of 4 programmes featuring coverage of the 1981 Springboks tour of New Zealand. This is a rare chance to see footage of this hugely controversial tour. I'm John Taylor, and back in the 70s, I refused to play against South Africa because I believed a sporting boycott would help to bring an end to apartheid. I was in a small minority at the time, but by 1981, rugby was the only major sport still trying to maintain normal contacts. Most of the rugby-mad New Zealanders were for the tour. All Blacks v Springboks series were considered unofficial world championships. But there were some notable exceptions. Graham Murray, the New Zealand captain, and veteran centre Bruce Robertson both refused to play on moral grounds. And Hart, the Halt All Racial Tours organisation, led a protest movement prepared to go to almost any lengths to prevent the tour happening. The New Zealand government declared their disapproval but refused to deny the team visas, so the tour went ahead. But the Springboks were under siege from the moment they arrived. South Africa had lost the first test 14-9, but there was a feeling within the camp that the difficult preparations had impacted on their performance. The second test was in Wellington. There was still no case of them being able to stay in hotels, and a similar plan as for the first test was put into action. This time, though, they went to Athletic Park, the test ground, and set up a dormitory there in one of the function rooms. There were pool tables, there were card tables. Everything was a little more comfortable, but they were still holed up at the test ground for a full 36 hours before kick-off. The feeling was, though, that they were going to give this a go, and they were nothing if not determined. This time, they felt they would be better prepared mentally.
Everything is set, and Nas Botha begins the second test after the whistle from referee Clive Norling, and this is Alan Hewson who returns the first ball to touch outside the 22, and a lot of interest on the performance of Wellington's Alan Hewson today, playing on his home ground. Knows it well from having kicked here and played here for all his representative career. The sun's shining brightly here, but the ground is very slippery and will be muddy in places, I'm sure, as the game progresses. That's Baden Klaasen captaining South Africa in his third test match, and the ball hit him on the head just there at halfway. Ken Stewart's got him. You can see big Flippy van der Merwe as they get set for the first scrum, going through onto the tight head side against John Ashworth. The hook has gone to Dalton. Loveridge away to Doug Rollis in the first 5-8. And this is Casey Pina. He hasn't found touch. We had a lot of that happening in the first test. Alan Hewson running it wide, finds Stu Wilson, trying to crash the centre. That was a good tackle by Karts and one other South African player. There's Serfontein to Baden Klaasen, to Pienaar up. The 22 approaches. This is Stoffberg, a great run. Hewson missed the tackle, but Cameron got his, and Serfontein is near the corner. And Fraser was across covering, and Flippy van der Merwe looked dangerous. Great move by South Africa early on.
Well, it seems like they're going to throw the ball round. It was good tackling on the part of the All Blacks towards the end of that move, and the ball went forward over the line. They've had to come back for the scrum, but the tactics are definitely going to be South Africa spin the ball.
Alan Hewson in his first appearance with the All Black colours on Athletic Park. Back in a very defensive position, just inside the dead ball area for the clearance from the scrum. It's a New Zealand loose head in this very tight defensive position. Onto the left boot from Hewson. Hasn't found the line. I want to give it to Botha perhaps for the drop kick. This is Jerry Thermoshace. Mexted made the tackle. Ruck ball for New Zealand. Loveridge flat. Here's Casey Pienaar. It bounced off Mark Shaw's foot, and the All Blacks have been uncertain and unsteady in the first couple of minutes.
Well, there was 2 incidents there, then the ball didn't find the line, and that is at this level just inexcusable. And the South Africans are making the play from these mistakes that the All Blacks are making.
Well, Willie Karts is obviously not right. Baden Klaasen is signalling to the stand. It looks like they may lose Willie Karts. The left arm is the problem in the shoulder area. And he is in very bad trouble with that injury. And he can hardly raise his arm to make the throw in. But he's staying on at the moment. Making the throw with one hand. Went to New Zealand. A penalty to South Africa from the line out. It was against number 5, Frank Oliver. So there's big Frank Oliver, who was actually in Brisbane when the news came through that he'd be called in to replace Graham Higginson. And Nas Botha, who has had only one match since Christchurch. The halt here as Willie Karts is leaving the field, and that's unfortunate for him. Just 2 minutes after the game began, going to be checked by the team doctor, Augie Cohen. And here is a chance for South Africa to put the points on the board after 4 minutes. (3-0) with that successful penalty by Nas Botha.
The penalty for South Africa to number 10, Nas Botha.
Well, it looks like Andy Dalton gave the wind away to South Africa in the first half, so they have to get points on the board with the wind behind them. New Zealand have to try and keep the Springboks in their half for the first 40 minutes, and then in the second half take advantage of the wind.
The match restarts from Houston's kick with Louis Moolman taking the catch. A loose ball there for Serpentine. And you see in that instinct there, Serpentine swung the ball in field. Now, I think in the first test, he might have just put it out. Short line-outs called by New Zealand. Deep throw by Dalton. Mexted and Vainen Klaasen. Ken Stewart, it's a slippery ball out in the centre. Serpentine. Lost by Gerber. Knock on. That's the South African 22 just to the right. And a man coming on. It will be Robert Cockrell. Coming on for his 9th international.
Number 2, Vinnie Cook, is number 16, Robert Cockrell.
So Serpentine midfield in South African territory. Good kick across in front of Alan Houston. That's out to where Bernie Fraser is marking Ray Mort on that far wing side. A little conversation there between Cockrell and Serpentine. So New Zealand at the back are playing Ken Stewart, South Africa playing Vainen Klaasen, their captain. 5 is Moolman. Next head through, he pushed Serpentine before he had the ball. And that's a fair call by referee Norling. And another chance for Nas Botha with that penalty against Murray Mexted. Another chance for Botha to kick for goal.
Well, Nas Botha is deadly with the right foot, and he didn't have a good test in Christchurch. He averages nearly 11 points a test match, and once he's on form and slotting them through the middle, anything could happen.
7 minutes gone in the first half. South Africa lead 3-0. Here's a chance for them to go 6 up. And he's done it. 6-0 with 2 penalties now to number 10, the danger man with the boot, Nas Botha. Hayden getting in well for the jump, for the good kick by Hewson. Loveridge. Back to Rollison. Here's the high kick. Oh, they let it bounce. This is Casey Pina. This is Casey Pina, his 12th test match. South Africa's Rugby Player of the Year in 1980, but hasn't really hit form in 81 yet on this tour. Short line out again by New Zealand. That one went to Hayden. That's Frank Oliver to Rollison. Deflected down by Danny Gerber. Infield to Visser. Movement feeds Serfontaine. Out wide to Danny Kerber, the danger man from late in the first test. And Alan Hewson, the ball deflected from him into touch. So that's Danny Kerber, the centre who looks a dangerous runner. Nearly got a breakaway that time. Replacement hooker Robert Cockle throws to Div Visser. To Border, picked it up nicely to Kerber. And here's Pina up to Jenny Hermesace. The defence is the cross. Oh, that's a fine try. And Hermesace signals his return with a great try in the corner.
Well, once again, it was just an ordinary orthodox movement by South Africa, with the extra man being the fullback, Casey Pina. And you could see as he came in, we can't give you replays because there has been a bomb scare.
There is trouble at the back. The riot squad has been called in. An object, the smoking object, was thrown onto the field.
And South Africa's try was scored by number 11, Terry Kermit.
So there's a disturbance behind the ground. Objects have been thrown onto the pitch into the in-goal area. They're the policemen who with track suits who stay on the infield. And
it's another kick to Nas Border, his third today. He's got a 100% record so far, and this is the easiest one of the lot.
the All Blacks didn't charge it. It was obvious to them it was handy enough, and that's 12-0 to South Africa after 10 minutes of play. A great beginning for the touring team. 12-0 up. So Alan Hewson kicks off again, taken in by De Villiers Visser. And there's a penalty to New Zealand, so a chance for them to so it is going to be a shot at goal by Alan Hewson. Just like to point out here, there is quite a bit of movement in the ground from the riot squads running around the bottom of the pitch. Hewson kicking for goal. Just away in front, touchdown. So still 12-0, drop out from the 22. Border kicks it low and flat. New Zealand have somehow got to get back into this game. Not many test matches are lost from a 12-0 up, especially with a man like Nas Border likely to put more points on the board. So there's the man who's been worth 8 points today so far for South Africa. Halfway. Visser. Six changes in that South African pack. Only Moolman and Stockberg retain their places from Christchurch. Selectors will be feeling pretty happy right now about their decision.
It's interesting that they've taken a Northern Transvaal pack now, where Northern Transvaal don't play in the wet. And last week, the week before, the Western Province side, who actually play in the wet, did very badly.
Border Hewson, just a little fumble. Found by Stockberg. Loose ball being claimed by Fisser. And a penalty to South Africa. Hands in the pile up there. And the man being pointed to was Ken Stewart. So 23 minutes gone, that's the distance for Nas Botha. And that's another one that's through for Nas Botha. That's his 4th goal in 23 minutes. It's 15 points to 0. I haven't seen a scoreline like that against New Zealand for, well, there hasn't been one, has there, for many years.
That's the first time that New Zealand have looked like scoring a try. A good break by Murray Mexted from the base of the scrum, and he had people with him in support.
Worried All Black captain Andy Dalton to throw. .67 points in 8 games for New Zealand. Had an injured neck at Christchurch. No sign of that at the moment from Hewson. And that's put New Zealand on the board.
Well, it was a long time coming for the crowd here, but the 3 points at least has got New Zealand going. And now they realise it's a long way before they're going to get to overhaul 15 points to 3. And they've got to tighten their game up. They've got to get that loose ball.
All quiet in the outer streets, except we can see the demonstrators in the far distance lining up, confronting, but not in any way attempting to move forward and penetrate the police lines, which are many thousands strong. It's Doug Rollison trying to be elusive. This is Fraser. And some bad tackling there. Springbok 10-metre line. Mark Shaw in the thick of it. This is rough. Now Bernie Fraser's coming off the ground, holding his head. Serfontaine putting it in on his own 10-metre line. That's Fraser protesting. Morton pursuit. We've had a minute of injury time. 18-3 South Africa. And don't be deceived by the sunshine. It's still cold. It's greasy. And Botha is coping well, as he has all afternoon, with some of these tricky, pressurised passes from Serfontaine. Referee studying that mound of bodies and also looking, as he has very carefully all afternoon, for the offside line. Loveridge to Rollison. This is Woodman. Right into Burger Geldenese's arms. Rollison hacks it on. This is Pienaar. And the very muddy figure of Lachlan Cameron sprints across your screen. The man brought in to replace Andy Jefford. Ullman can't get it. Through comes Kelvin Hayes. This is Cockrell. Stoffberg overruns a bit. Fisser is putting in the charge. That's the 22-metre line. Mulman helping. Again, very rugged exchanges and moving right over the ball. Probably knocking it forward in the process, and New Zealand ball. 42.5 minutes. 18-3 South Africa. Just one try scored by Hermes Hayes. Might almost call it 1.5 tries because Hermes Hayes came so very close, as you may remember, in the opening minutes. There's Wilson. Hewson with a kick for Bernie Fraser, chased by Mort and Pienaar. Both packs of forwards, as you may have noticed, slowing down considerably after a very, very rugged 43 minutes of rugby under these slow and difficult conditions. Stoffberg towards the back of the line. And the referee blows his whistle for the end of the first half, which ran for 43 minutes.
Welcome back to our coverage of the second test in Wellington. 18-3, an incredible performance by the Springboks considering the circumstances. As you'll probably have noticed, both commentary and pictures were being affected by the protesters cutting cables and anything they could do to disrupt. And in the second half, we got to a point where they lost pictures altogether. So we pick up the action later in the second half, the Springboks leading 18-3.
Police are right up, eyeball to eyeball now with that group on McAllister Park behind the Millard stand. So Pienaar's kick has got play outside the 22. Dalton throws deep to Stewart, played off his hands. Not straight. Collapsed on the near side. That's a Flippy van der Merwe there against John Ashworth. That's not a usual thing to see the referee around the other side of the put-in. Midfield. Outside the Springbok 22. Loveridge to Mort. It held up in the mud. Now a chase. Hewson and Fraser and Pienaar. So pressure now from the New Zealand team on the South African line.
Well, down by 12 points. They need a try in the next couple of minutes to get back into this game.
13 minutes gone, second half. Scrum close to the line, the weight's gone in. There's the ball, it's inside the 5-metre line. Loveridge away to Rollison. Oh, big traffic ahead of him there. Another New Zealand put in, close to the post.
Now got a bigger blind to go on the left. Alan Hewson just standing behind the scrum. You can see him.
There's Alan Hewson, it could be on. It's Murray Maxted trying to recover there. Into Stewart, that's effectively into the set move. Now, Borta looked offside, but they're running it anyway. Out towards Woodman. Knock on by Fred Woodman, a definite scoring chance.
And the ball's very slippery. Fred Woodman tried to pick it up, which he had to with the line only a couple of metres ahead.
Seven metres from the South African line. New Zealand have turned it. And they've got a penalty. Loveridge.
I think Dave Loveridge looked across at Andy Dalton thinking, shall we have a quick one? But Andy Dalton said no. We'll take the 3 points if possible from out here. It's the right-hand side, so it's the left-hand side, the right side for Alan Hewson.
Another Welshman running the touch. Judge Jim and Vi Dainty of Newport will be delighted to see their son Cliff, who lives in Wellington, a Welshman through and through, running the touch, is the Wellington number 2 referee today. And he'll be watching closely as Alan Hewson lines up for this shot at goal. Score 18-6, 16 minutes second half. And the decision by Dalton was well worthwhile. 18-9.
But New Zealand still have to score twice to win this game, and that's a big job for them.
And it's Colin Beck running it forward. Coming down under the posts. And a good catch by Dave Loveridge.
No, it was a late tackle on Colin Beck there as he went after that ball. He was interfered with.
Oh, and this is a gift. We'll see if we can see that on the replay. I don't think it was. Let's have a look. Let's run it.
As Maxted, who could have forced that ball down, kicked the ball out. Here he comes. Now watch, the ball goes out and it's taken here. Now watch the player with the ball. He kicks the ball. Now watch, he's interfered with just there, and the referee's been perfect position to see he was only just touched by the New Zealand player, but that is enough. It's interference, and so Clive Norling decided that the penalty should be given.
An easy one for Borta is over. 21 points to 9, and that's the biggest score the Springboks have ever scored against the All Blacks. Let's just check and see what's happening out the back. There are more people coming across to join in the confrontation on McAllister Park. You can see the barbed wire, which has been cleared away by the demonstration group, and they're in facing the riot squad. Oki Oosthuizen, good tackle by Ken Stewart.
Playing the ball off the ground by Oosthuizen. He was tackled by Ken Stewart. The ball touched the ground, so it was a tackle, but he then tried to pick it up and give it to one of his players.
It's becoming a battle of penalties here. We've had a number of shots, and we've had 8 successful penalty goals. So that's the distance for Hewson. So that's 4 penalty goals for Alan Hewson, and 22 minutes second half. It's closed up now to 21-12. A long pass wide to Gerber, to Beck. Gerber says out to the left. Wilson made the tackle. And Murray Maxted barging into the winger, Gary Kermases.
Well, there's still too many kicks that aren't finding the line, and this is basically from New Zealand. And if you don't find the line, you're not going to get out of trouble.
22-metre line there. So it's on the New Zealand 22. 15 minutes left in the match. 21 points to 12. The Springboks holding the lead that could level the series for them. The free kick to South Africa. It may be off here for a drop kick to Nas Botha. He's the deadly with the drop kick. 17 points already, and there he is. This is telling Serpentine how he likes it. Remember, he can snap drop kick very well. Here it comes. And very nicely caught by a policeman behind the dead ball line.
Well, even though Nas Botha had plenty of time in that drop kick attempt, he still seemed to rush it.
So Rollison down to Gerber. Right back in South African territory. There's halfway. Loveridge here. Deflected by Mulman at the 10-metre mark. New Zealand territory. Serpentine pushing it to Woodman. Into Rollison. Now to Lockie Cameron. Good counter-attack. Why did Hewson kick? That's the question. Fraser and Wilson towing it ahead. Pienaar's got it covered, though.
New Zealand trying to run the ball from everywhere now, but they're not getting that much chance because they're still not getting to that loose ball as well as they should.
There's Stuart Wilson, who perhaps could have got a pass there from Alan Hewson.
And since Mr. Norling has penalised the forwards for coming to the line out quickly, both sets of forwards are a bit dubious of coming into that maul situation.
Time ticking away for the New Zealand team. 13 minutes left. Water kicks that one high into the grandstand. Never scored a try in the test, but he doesn't need to with tallies like 17 points, giving him the South African record. Well, Stockberg got that one from Loveridge as it rolled away from Loveridge. Free kick here. New Zealand might try something here. Loveridge might put it up in the air. Rollison, drop kick attempt. They hit a South African. Now I wonder if Pienaar knows that. Yes, he does. Runs it out and kicks from the line.
I think perhaps the up and under might have been the better tactic there. In the first test, New Zealand tried it and it worked. And there, they haven't had one up and under today from a penalty.
That's 6 missed drop kick attempts by New Zealand in the series because it was 2 today and 4 last test at Christchurch. Serpentine had a tidy little game again today as the South African halfback, Ivan Serpentine.
And they've learnt their lesson from Christchurch, the South Africans.
Confrontation on McAllister Park. So the game will start again with just over 10 minutes left. 21-12. South Africa leads. Just one try in the game. A brilliant try in the corner for Kermases. Let's see how Rollison and the New Zealand backs can go this time. Looping is Cameron. Kicking through. Pienaar has it. Keeping the ball and play deliberately. Woodman and Wilson. Wilson has it. Rollison tried to straighten it up and lost the momentum. Now they're going again. Stuart Wilson made the pass. Serpentine kicks deep, and now the chase is on. Fraser should make it back in time. Out in midfield in front of the posts. Down for 17. Back to Border. Drop kick coming up. And 3 more points for Nas Border. And that must put it well beyond doubt now at 24-12.
Well, what a simple move. The Willie away came back from Oosthuizen, got it back to Serpentine, and Nas Border had all the time in the world to put the 3 points on the board.
So the battle goes on for the New Zealanders, but they're really in trouble now in this match. A long pass for Houston.
And as that ball went along the New Zealand backline, Wynand Klaassen, the South African number 8 and captain, was there right inside the whole way and just shepherding all the New Zealand backs across the field.
That's Wynand Klaassen. What a triumphant return to the test scene for him today. Dropped for the first test, as many other South African captains have been dropped in New Zealand. Serpentine's ball in.
Loveridge round a little too quick there on Serpentine. 8 minutes remaining in the match. 24 points to 12 to South Africa.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have your attention, please? A message from the police.
A message from the police on the public address system now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the police have held the demonstrators on McAllister Park by the Rindhole Street gate.
This is a message from the public address system about the demonstration at the back.
Is avoided. Please comply with this request. The gates of the Adelaide Road entrance will remain closed.
As the game continues, that's more news about that dramatic confrontation on McAllister Park. The New Zealand team running the ball here, but as the public address system gives him a message, Fraser kicking ahead now, and Borta, the man who is everywhere, gets back to touchdown.
The demonstrators are in Adelaide Road.
The guts of the thing is that the demonstration, it seems, is going to go on, so the police are not going to open the gates to let the people in the ground go out to that confrontation. They're keeping the rugby people away from this demonstration outside. That was the gist of the announcement made in the public address system. And of course, most people inside the athletic park will not be aware of the demonstration outside because they're down in the bowl of the stadium and can't see outside as we can from our elevated camera position. Match is just a few minutes to run. Ida brought up. A lot of the crowd moving towards the gate and all moving around to the Rindhole Street side to clear the park. Quite a strange atmosphere in the ground. The game is effectively over as a contest with 24-12. They've had that announcement from the police, and a lot of people are moving towards the gates now, and the game is just kind of playing itself out here. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before, really.
The last movement was just so quiet and silent. No one seemed to know what was going on or want to know. New Zealand can't win this game with 5 minutes to go, 24-12, 12 points. They're trying to up the tempo, but they're not succeeding. They've been effectively beaten to the loose ball, which is the crux of the All Black game.
And there are the many hundreds of people who are leaving out through the Rindhole Street gates. at the end of this match as the struggle continues.
Ladies and gentlemen, just repeating this announcement.
Now the repeat of the announcement that the gates will not be opened on the McAllister Park side of Athletic Park.
It is essential that a confrontation is avoided. Therefore, all people are asked to leave via Rintoul Street. Via Rintoul Street.
That's Ashworth leading a New Zealand charge. Now they've got it out to Loveridge. Ken Stewart, the referee right behind him, saw him knock it on.
Well, nothing's going right for New Zealand today, but they've been effectively shut out by South Africa. Tremendous effort from South Africa to come back from that first test loss, make all those changes and take the play right to New Zealand.
Tackler was Mexted. Penalty to South Africa. Yes, one has to say that the better team is winning this match. The South Africans clearly on top all the way through. And the man with the boot. That's the story of the match. Really, Botha controlling throughout. And 5 penalty goals, 1 drop goal and 1 conversion for 20 points today. Serpentine. Houston let it bounce. Now can he swing this? He's trying to. Fraser gets through. Bernie Fraser away and clear at halfway. He's got Mexted inside him, but the pass went the other way and was lost forward. Well, just a couple of flashes by Bernie Fraser. About the only consolation New Zealand could have out of this game. Ten-metre mark. South African territory, free kick to New Zealand. Now this one should go up in the air. Running it, flipped on, nicely to Lockie Cameron. Got away from Vaden Klaasen's tackle, 10 metres out. Penalty against Visser. Now, what's it going to be? 10 metres from the line. Rollison, Cameron. Thomas Hayes, Botha, and that, quite simply, when Botha gets the ball, is that.
And that's exactly what New Zealand were doing in the first test, and we say it time and time again, but the roles are being reversed in this test, where if the ball goes loose, it comes back on the green side. 2 weeks ago, it came back on the black side, and they did exactly the same thing.
Rollison, Cameron, Wilson getting through up to the 22 nearly. Loveridge again. Rollison. Cameron's there. Again coming back inside.
And Lockie Cameron, who was committed to coming back inside there by the South Africans, coming up too flat, and Colin Beck was on the receiving end of Lockie Cameron running into him.
Beck, who came on as a replacement for his first cap for South Africa.
And it was a deserved one at that for the way he's played on the tour, Keith.
He certainly has. He's been the best of their backs day in, day out. Stu Wilson. Keldon Hayes went high. Down and up for Loveridge. Chipping through towards Fraser. Just out near the corner. Just seconds remaining in the match.
Well, Bernie Fraser has been the only star that shone at all brightly in the New Zealand side today. He's made 3 good breaks. One just a few minutes ago that, well, if he'd got the try, that would have been one of the great tries.
Right on the goal line. Serpentine, this could be the end. Everyone watching Clive Norling. He's allowing play to go on for a wee bit longer, but there he is, checking his watch. Cameron, Loveridge, Rollison. Now Woodman got a high ball. Wilson's inside him. Ken Stewart there. Just a few metres out. And when the ball was clear, Border kicked it away. And Rollison and Border have had a great competition in this series. Rollison being spoken to, and he wants to see him. I think Rollison had something to say there.
Well, that's a silly thing to do. It's a minute to go on the clock, and Doug Rollison's mouth just let him down, and he said something to the referee, and this is just completely stupid of Doug Rollison to do this, and Clive Norling does not take any of this from any player around the world. And he's now going to give the penalty either where Border was obstructed or where the ball actually landed. He's given it right up the field. Well,
that's an unfortunate way for the match to come to its conclusion, as it has, with the Springboks delighted with their 24-12 win. There are the two architects of it, Bain and Klaassen, the captain, but Nas Border mostly, with 5 penalties, 1 drop goal and 1 conversion for 20 points. And there is the match winner, essentially, for South Africa.
So an incredible kicking performance from Nas Botha gave the Springboks not only victory against all the odds, but a record score against New Zealand. The third and deciding test would be played a fortnight later in Auckland, and the protesters were promising to make it even more intimidating for the touring South Africans. Tune in again to ESPN Classic to see the climax of this historic series.
Amazing.